3, 2, 1. Good Sunday evening, everyone. I'm lead forecaster Finnegan Gruggett here in the Mem9weather Storm Center with a severe weather update. We currently have 2 tornado warnings in effect for portions of the viewing area. We have 1 tornado warning in effect for southwestern Lee County, and then another tornado warning in effect for northwestern St. Francis County, as well as western sections of Cross County. Let's focus on that southern storm real fast. Both of these are tornado warned. The southernmost storm, we do have a confirmed tornado at this point. Right now, it's been several minutes since we've gotten that confirmed tornado, but it is something we are going to continue to monitor. But right now, the main concern with this storm is going to be large hail and the possibility for that tornado. So right now, again, we are continuing to monitor this storm very carefully here in the Weather Center. So as we take a look at our base velocity product, basically these are the winds inside of the storm, and you see this green shaded color, those winds are going towards the radar, and then we start to see this bluish reddish color, those are going away from the radar. So you can see how we are getting a small circulation here. It's not overly impressive, and actually as we take a look at our rotation product, you can see it is picking up some rotation that's currently approaching our southern Arkansas County. So again, you want to continue to monitor this storm carefully as we are looking at a possible tornado on the ground. We're seeing an area of rotation, and again, this area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, we have that 1 tornado warning that's currently in effect for portions of the area. And then we have another tornado warning across the northernmost cell, and that is not a confirmed tornado, but that is a storm that's worth monitoring, as it was showing some decent rotation earlier as it was pushing out of the Little Rock area. But again, here in Memphis, we're continuing to monitor that tornado warning that's in effect for southern Lee County. And I believe we have an update from the Storm Prediction Center. But again, we have this tornado warning that's in effect for southern portions of Lee County. The main area of rotation is just south of the viewing area, but it will be pushing off towards the northeast. Again, the main concern with this cell, strong winds, small hail, and the potential for a tornado. And then as we go a little farther north, we're watching another tornado warning that's in effect for northwestern St. Francis County, as well as western and southwestern sections of Cross County. This does include the city of Wynne, as well as just to the northwest of Caldwell. This does not include Forest City, but areas across northwestern St. Francis counties. You are under that tornado warning. And again, the main area of circulation is just to the west of the area where you see these darker blues. That's where we're seeing the strongest rotation, but this area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast, and that will put it into our eastern Arkansas counties within the next couple of minutes. So if you're in the city of Wynne, Arkansas, just to the northwest of Caldwell, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. as we are seeing the potential for a possible tornado on the ground, some fairly strong rotation. And as we take a look at your latest tornado safety tips, be sure to stay away from windows, get to the lowest place in your house, cover your head. If you have a helmet, that would be a great thing to put on your head, as most deaths occur from the damage. So we are watching this tornado warning that's in effect for portions of the viewing area, and if you are traveling on roads, be sure to abandon cars and mobile home, try to pull off on the nearest exit and find sturdy shelter. And if you're not able to, try to find a ditch. Do not go under overpasses, as the wind is just stronger under those overpasses. So again, we are watching this tornado warning that is in effect for portions of the viewing area. And as we take a look back at radar, you can see, in fact, we are continuing to monitor this tornado warning. That does include the city of Wynne, Arkansas, but the strongest part of the cell is just to the west of the viewing area. But this cell will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, tornado warning does continue, and we have a new tornado in Lee County. So as we take a look at that cell, which is farther to the south of this cell, the new warning has not popped. This new warning has, we have my producers telling me we have a confirmed tornado. This confirmed tornado is just to the southwest of the viewing area in the city of Marvell, but this is moving off towards the northeast. So Marianna, Arkansas, eastern sections of Lee County, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground, and this strong thunderstorm is continuing to push off towards the northeast. So again, if you're in middle to eastern sections of Lee County, the city of Marinara, Arkansas, you are under that tornado warning. Again, this is a new tornado warning that has just been issued. And again, this is for Lee County, which is in our viewing area, until 8:45 p.m. So again, that tornado warning is in effect until 8:45 p.m. And this does include this tornado that is on the ground. My producer was just telling me it's going to continue to move off towards the northeast at right around 35 to 40 miles an hour. So again, we are watching this strong cell, which there is a tornado on the ground. And as we take a look at your latest tornado safety tips, you want to be going under sturdy shelter. Try to go on the lowest floor of your house if possible. Put on a helmet if you have one available, and be sure to seek sturdy shelter if you are on the roads. So again, stay away from windows, go to an interior room or basement, and get under sturdy furniture. And if you are on roads, please stay away from this tornado. Pull off to the nearest exit and try to find some sturdy furniture and a sturdy business and hide under that sturdy furniture. So again, we are continuing to monitor this tornado warning, which is in effect for eastern sections of Lee County. A confirmed tornado is on the ground, and it will be impacting eastern sections of Lee County. Bricky's, Arkansas, which is in northeastern Lee County, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Again, a tornado is on the ground moving off towards the northeast. So again, if you are under this tornado warning, be sure to seek sturdy shelter, interior room away from windows, and try to put a bicycle helmet on if possible. So again, we are monitoring that tornado warning that is in effect for southwestern sections of the viewing area. Again, it is in effect for Lee and Phillips County until 8:45 p.m. So we have a little more than 30 minutes left, rather. So again, the storm's continuing to push off towards the northeast, and we are continuing to monitor numerous cells across the area. As we take a look at here in Memphis, we're just dealing with the rain and a few thunderstorms, but the strongest cells are off towards our west, and these cells are moving off towards the northeast. So again, we are monitoring numerous tornado warnings across the area, and we will continue to monitor the latest weather information. So again, if you are in this tornado warning, you need to be taking shelter immediately, as we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground across southwestern sections of the viewing area. So again, the storm's continuing to push off towards the northeast, and then we are watching another cell that's entering western sections of St. Francis and Cross counties. As we take a look at the wind products, we are watching an area of rotation that's currently pushing into sections of the viewing area, and that area of rotation is just to the west of Caldwell, and that area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, we have numerous tornado warnings in effect. I want to focus on this northern cell for a second. Where you see these darker colors, that's where we are seeing that potential rotation that is moving off towards the northeast. With this cell, no confirmed tornado on the ground, but we are seeing some impressive amounts of rotation that will continue to slide off towards the northeast. So again, if you are in Wynne, Arkansas or Caldwell, just northwest of the city of Caldwell, you want to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we do have a possible tornado on the ground. And again, our main concern is the southernmost tornado warning, which is in effect for Lee County, where we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground, as well as the potential for some fairly large hail and damaging winds, as well as heavy rainfall. So this cell will continue to move off towards the northeast, impacting eastern sections of Lee County. But again, here in Memphis, just light to moderate rainfall with some frequent lightning, nothing in the way of severe weather yet here in Memphis. But again, areas all are. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as there is a confirmed tornado on the ground off towards your southwest, and it is approaching you, and it should be on your doorstep within the next 30 minutes. So be sure to go into your tornado shelter or the interior-most room in your house in the Marianna, Arkansas. This storm's right on your doorstep. You're currently dealing with some large hail and heavy rainfall. The tornadic circulation will be on the most southern side of this storm, where I'm circling. Again, this area will have the best potential to see that possible tornado, and weather spotters actually confirmed this tornado, and this cell will continue to push off towards the northeast. No warnings here in Shelby County yet, just some heavy rainfall, but we'll have to monitor this storm very carefully over the next hour or so. But again, very heavy rainfall and some possible hail on the northernmost side of this storm, and then that possible tornado on the southern flank of the storm. And this storm will continue to push off towards the northeast. Again, this is a confirmed tornado on the ground. So Rhonda, Marianna, Arkansas, as well as Brookings, you need to be taking your tornado. We're monitoring even more cells off towards our southwest. Those cells will continue to push off towards the northeast. But again, here in Memphis, we are just picking up showers and a few rumbles of thunder, but we are watching these two cells off towards our west, which are both under tornado warnings. So again, the potential for tornadoes exists throughout the overnight hours tonight, and in fact, does go in effect until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, rather. So again, this does include the entire viewing area, and this is a tornado watch until 2 a.m. Monday morning. So again, these storms will continue to impact the area. So if you are in that area, or in those warnings rather, you do have the potential of seeing some severe weather. And as we take a look at your latest severe weather outlook, you can see the best chance for severe weather will be across southwestern sections of the viewing area, and that's where the current tornado warnings are. But here in Memphis, we have a lesser chance of severe weather, but still the possibility for an isolated strong to severe storm, as we see these storms move off towards the northeast at right around 40 miles an hour. So as we take a look at current radar, you can see we're watching these two cells across eastern Arkansas that will continue to push off towards the northeast. So here in Memphis, we have to monitor these storms carefully, as well as the Hernando area. But right now, we're just dealing with heavy rainfall and some lightning here in the Memphis area. But that's a different story off towards our southwest, as they're currently under tornado warnings, and severe thunderstorm warnings are farther off towards our southwest. So as we take a look at these two storms, we are seeing quite a bit of lightning with these storms, and where you see these brighter colors in the storm, that's where we're likely picking up very heavy rainfall and some large hail. And then you can see as we approach the northernmost storm that's currently under that tornado warning. You can see we are also picking up some frequent lightning as well as some very heavy rainfall, but I think there's a smaller chance for some possible small hail. So again, if you're in the city of Wynne, Arkansas, or just to the northwest of Forest City, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as you are under that tornado warning. So as we take a look at rotation, we are seeing some broad rotation, but luckily it was not as impressive as earlier, where you see these reds mixing in with the greens. That's where we are seeing a broad circulation, and that is what prompted that tornado warning. But again, main concern right now is strong winds and that possible tornado. But again, right now we are watching that broad circulation across the area. And as we take a look at our rotation product, you can see it's also picking up on that broad area of rotation. Right now, it does not look like there's a tornado currently on the ground, but with these storms, they can rapidly wrap up and produce tornadoes. So if you are under this tornado warning, you need to be seeking shelter immediately just to the southwest or northwest rather of Forest City, Colt, Wynne, Arkansas, Vayendale. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are looking at the potential for some strong gusty winds as well as that possible tornado. So as we take a look at our hail product here, we are seeing the potential for some small hail just to the northwest of Forest City and just to the southwest of Colt. And you can see this area, that is where we are seeing some possible small hail with this storm. But right now, the immediate concern is that possible tornado that's possibly on the ground right now. No information that's leading us to believe that it's immediately on the ground, but we are seeing indications of broad rotation with this storm, and that's what's prompted the National Weather Service to issue that tornado warning that's currently in effect for areas just to the northwest of Forest City. And this does include the city of Wynne, Arkansas, as well as Colt, Arkansas. And this area of rotation will continue to slide off towards the northeast, so we'll have to continue to monitor this cell very carefully here. And then as we take a look at the southernmost cell across the viewing area, you can see there is that tornado warning in effect for central and eastern sections of Lee County. This does include the city of Marianna, Arkansas, as well as portions of eastern Lee County. Bricky's, Arkansas, you are under that tornado warning, as well as Rondo, where we are seeing that tornado that was reported. So again, we have a reported tornado on the ground. And again, we are seeing some possible rotation across southern sections of Lee County. This storm is far away from the radar, so we're having a hard time of seeing the strong rotation, but we are getting some indications of rotation across south central sections of Lee County. So again, this tornado warning is in effect until 8:45 tonight. This does include Lee County, again, eastern sections of Lee County. This does not include Tunica County at this moment, but we'll have to continue to monitor this cell very carefully. Again, a broad circulation here with this southernmost storm, and as well as that broad circulation with the wind until 8:30 tonight. So just over 10 minutes left for this storm, which is currently pushing off towards the northeast. In areas on the northernmost extent of this storm, you're likely picking up some large hail and very heavy rainfall. And then where you see this notch across the southern sections of the storm, that's where we are likely seeing that possible tornado. Nothing confirmed at the current time, but the main concern right now is gusty winds and very heavy rainfall with that possible tornado. But right now, nothing has been confirmed. And as we take a look at our hail product, actually, where we can get a better idea of where the largest hail is going to be, you can see just to the west of Caldwell and northwest of Forest City is where we see the best potential for some possible large hail, nearing quarter-sized hail. But again, the potential tornado will be along the southernmost part of this storm. And this is not the only storm we're monitoring. Here in Memphis, we are starting to see a few scattered showers and a few thunderstorms, but right now those are not severe, just some rainfall here in Memphis. But again, we'll have to monitor this cell here that's just to the southwest of the Memphis area as it continues to push off towards the northeast. And that storm does have a tornado on it. And then as we take a look farther towards the west, we are watching some cells, again, farther towards the west of the initial storms just to the northeast of Little Rock. But again, main concern right now are these 2 tornado warnings in effect for eastern Arkansas. None of these storms include the Memphis metropolitan area at the current time, with these storms right around 188 lightning strikes in between all these storms. So don't be surprised, especially here in the Memphis area, if you hear some rumbles of thunder as well as some light rainfall. But the immediate concern is that potential for an isolated tornado with either of these storms. We do have, again, those 2 tornado warnings that are in effect for portions of the viewing area. So as we take a look at your latest watch information, we are under that tornado watch, which is in effect until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. This does include the Memphis area as well as points off towards the east and west. So again, we are in store for a busy night. Again, an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out tonight, but the main concern is that potential for some gusty wind and some very heavy rainfall. But the overall tornado potential is on the low side. But again, we are seeing that potential for an isolated tornado. So as we take a look at your latest outlook map from the Storm Prediction Center, you can see the greatest threat for severe weather is off towards the southwest across southern sections of eastern Arkansas as well as northwestern sections of Mississippi. That's where I think the best potential for an isolated tornado would be. And then here in Memphis, we are under that slight risk for severe weather, which is slightly lower. And I think here in Memphis, we'll see the potential for some gusty winds and heavy rainfall. And then farther towards the north areas near the Missouri Boot Heel are under that marginal risk for severe weather, which is even lower. So again, here in Memphis, we are monitoring those 2 tornado warnings in effect for western sections of the viewing area, which does include portions of eastern Arkansas. So again, Lee County as well as Cross and St. Francis counties, you are all under that tornado warning. And these tornado warnings, the one for St. Francis and Cross counties, is in effect until 8:30 tonight, and then that one for Lee County near Helena, West Helena, is in effect until 8:40. As we take a look at the storms that are both tornado warned, we are still seeing that indication of some broad rotation. The southernmost storm did have a tornado on the ground for a few minutes, but it looks like it's weakened slightly. And again, as we take a look at the wind speeds inside of the storm, the green goes towards the radar and then the red goes away from the radar. So you can see how we kind of get a circulation. And again, we are watching this area of some possible circulation across western sections of St. Francis and Cross counties. Those areas are under that tornado warning, and then a broader circulation off towards the south across central and eastern sections of Lee County. So as we take a look at the hail product we have available, you can see we are seeing the potential for maybe some small hail with the Lee County storm, but I think the best potential for large hail will be across northwestern St. Francis counties and southwestern Cross counties, as we see the better potential for some large hail. But with both of these storms, we are looking at that potential for gusty winds, heavy rainfall, and that potential for a tornado warning that's in effect for counties. We'll take a look at that warning very quickly here and try to get that pop up onto your screen. Again, as we take a look at the latest radar image, you can see the Weather Service has actually extended this tornado warning off towards the northeast. So it doesn't include Earl as well as southeastern sections of Cross County as well as northern sections of St. Francis counties. Again, we are monitoring this potential tornado that will continue to slide off towards the northeast. So again, we are watching this potential tornado that is impacting of the area into this possible tornado. We are starting to see the storm to strengthen just a little bit. You can see on the northernmost extent of the storm, we are seeing that potential for some large hail and heavy rainfall. And then we are starting to see this notching across the southernmost section of this storm, and that's where we are seeing that potential for a tornado. But the overall rotation signature is somewhat impressive as we see some of these darker colors popping up on our rotation product. So again, if you are in St. Francis and Cross counties, you want to continue to stay in your tornado shelters, as we are seeing that potential tornado on the ground, and this storm continues to strengthen. You can see where we are seeing the reds touching the greens. You can see where we are seeing that circulation, and this storm will continue to push off towards the northeast. Nothing in the way of a confirmed tornado on the ground at the current time, but it is possible that we could see a confirmed tornado later on with this storm. But the circulation is starting to tighten, so the storm is strengthening, and this is something we have to monitor very carefully. So if you are in Wynne, Arkansas, Caldwell, Colt, you need to be in your tornado shelters immediately, as we are seeing that potential tornado on the ground across western sections of Cross and St. Francis counties. You can see where we are seeing a broad circulation, but the circulation has tightened over the past couple of minutes, and this area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. So areas like Park and Earl, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are looking at a potential tornado on the ground off towards your southwest. So Wynne, Arkansas, as well as Colt and Caldwell, those cities, you need to be in your tornado precautions, your tornado shelter immediately, as we are seeing a tightening circulation off towards your west, and this area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, we are watching that potential for that tornado that's possibly on the ground. We have no confirmation at the current time, but you can see our rotation products doing a pretty good job at picking out the area with the strongest rotation. Where you see those darker purples, that's the area where the strongest rotation is. So if you are in Wynne, Arkansas, Colt, or Caldwell, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as there is a strong indication of a possible tornado off towards your west, and this area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. And we just got a new radar update on there, and you can see as we take a look at our wind product, we are still seeing that area of rotation, and this cell is continuing to push off towards the northeast. So in between Will, Colt, and Caldwell, you need to be taking your tornado precautions, as there is a possible tornado on the ground, and again with a secondary threat of some very large hail. So as we take a look at the southernmost storm is still under that tornado warning, and as we take a look at our rotation product within this storm, broad areas of rotation, nothing as significant as the other storm, but we are still seeing that broad area of rotation, which is in eastern sections of Lee County, LaGrange, as well as just to the south of Marianna, Arkansas. This area of rotation will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, we need to monitor this storm very carefully, as we are seeing some indications of some possible rotation with this storm. And then on the northernmost extent, that's where you will likely see large hail and very heavy rainfall. So again, if you are under either of these tornado warnings, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And as we pop up the latest tornado safety tips, be sure to stay away from windows, go to a basement or an interior room and get under sturdy furniture, as there is that possible tornado on the ground across portions of the viewing area. So again, tornado warning in effect for portions of the area. Again, we are seeing that significant rotation across the northernmost cell near Wynne, Arkansas, and both of these storms are pushing off towards the northeast. So be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are watching tornado warnings that are in effect for portions of the area. So if you are just joining us, we have 2 tornado warnings in effect for portions of the area, and this does not include the city of Memphis, but just off towards the west across eastern Arkansas. So again, numerous tornado warnings in effect, and again, all these storms are pushing off towards the northeast. So as we take a look at the latest radar image, we are watching this one cell near Marianna, Arkansas, and this cell will continue to push off towards the northeast. But as we take a broader perspective, you can see we are watching more cells off towards the west of this area of tornado warnings, and those are mainly producing damaging wind gusts. But as we take a look at an animated version, you can see most of these storms are pushing off towards the northeast, so we'll have to monitor these storms very carefully. And as we take a look again, numerous tornado warnings in effect, and we have an update coming in. Give me 1 second and I'll read over this. So again, we have these 2 tornado warnings in effect for portions of eastern Arkansas. And as we take a look at this northernmost storm, this storm has strengthened significantly over the past couple of minutes, and we're seeing an increasingly concerning area of rotation just to the west of Colt, Arkansas. We're seeing a strong area of rotation where you see these reds meeting the greens. That's where we're seeing strong rotation. So if you're in Wynne, Arkansas, Colt, or Caldwell, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are seeing a strong indication of rotation across portions of St. Francis and Cross County. So again, we are watching some significant rotation across portions of the viewing area. And if you are in any of these locations on the screen, which does include Wynne, Arkansas, as well as Colt and Caldwell, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are monitoring this cell very carefully, as it is showing increasing potential for a possible tornado. And then as we take a look at this southernmost storm, you can see we are still seeing some broad rotation with this storm, but it's not nearly as strong as the northernmost storm across Wynne, Arkansas, as well as Caldwell. So again, we are continuing to monitor these 2 storms, and these storms will continue to push off towards the northeast. So again, we are going to continue to monitor these, and we'll continue with an update over the next couple of minutes. Please.